So happy to be here with you guys. We'll be talking about careers being more of a jungle gym instead of a ladder. So how we can get into the industry of IT and kind of what processes I went through from my start of my career once I finished high school and to how I got into the IT industry. Because it is a little bit complicated and can get a little bit messy once you get out of high school. So I guess you're currently at your point of your high school journey where there's a lot of decisions, options, and considerations that you need to make when choosing, what kind of industry you want to get into. Whether you end up going down an IT or a digital path, that's all up to you and what kind of subjects you pick going into your VCE. So if my journey went according to plan, I would have got my first computer at the age of 7. Yes, that is me with a massive computer. Decided to figure out how to study more about technology and computers. Completed my double degree in digital advertising and web development. And started my career at Infosys as a graduate. So this is all if my life went in according to plan. But as life does, it doesn't. So I got my ATAR. I didn't get the score that I needed, so I went to Tafe. I started studying nursing. About a year and a half into my nursing Tafe, I transferred into uni and I started studying my nursing degree. I decided the career wasn't for me and I decided to change industries. I began studying my double degree, like I said, in digital advertising and web development. I graduated my double degree and I started my graduate role at Infosys. So once I started at Infosys, I got a lot of support from my organization into what career I wanted to choose. So I didn't have to be a developer. I didn't have to be a hard coder. I wanted to do the in-between. So I wanted to do the in-between where I was doing a little bit of development, but also dealing a lot with my clients. So I go out into my client sites, I interact with them and decide, okay, this is what they want. And I go to my developers and I help them develop the technology. So what am I doing now? What happened after I did all this degrees and I got into what I wanted to get into? What do I do now? So I've worked on, like we said, federal and local governments, and I've helped a lot of families with disability or helping them with housing, with payments. I helped all of these people within the Australian population or within Victorian population. I helped them get AIDS funding. So wherever they needed help, my company, Infosys, and our clients, we helped these people. We helped them get what they needed, the help that they needed. Currently, I'm working in construction and mining. So all of these people throughout Australia who are using these mining industry technologies, we help them create designs, we help them use advanced technologies to get these things rolling, to get what they need forward, whether it's timesheeting, whether it's project setups, whether it's funding, we help them do all of these things, put all these things together. So I guess the question is, how can you guys get involved? If you decide to go into a career, with Infosys and start as a graduate like I did, what can you do? I guess you can do anything your heart desires. The company Infosys will support you, and us as a team will always find something that you can do. You don't have to be the most, hard coder. You don't have to be the best person to be in technology. Just have to be able to think outside the box. Think how 2 and 2 can get together. Think of ideas, and new and fresh is always what we're looking for. So now I put it to you. What are your questions as to how you can get into an industry that kind of provides a vast variety of technology and updates to our clients?
Yep, thank you for that. We have a few questions here for you.
Yep.
What is the best recommendation for a high school student? Are there any work experience?
So we don't do work experience at the moment, but we do graduate programs. So once you commence your degree and you start your field of interest in your degree, within your second year, you can apply at Infosys to work in the graduate program. All the graduates that apply, once you get accepted, you commence the 3-month training program. So they do a bit of a 3-month coding program. And then once you've finished your 3-month program, you can then commence working on with your clients on, technologies and sectors of the business.
Yeah. What is your biggest project you've worked on at Infosys?
So I guess I've currently worked on 2 really big projects. One being the Australian government, which helped a lot of people throughout Australia, which is still currently running this program. We are helping them kind of get their payments out and help calculate their payments a little bit easier. And this current one that I'm working on at the moment, which is mining and constructions, mining and mineral technologies, which is really big throughout Australia and New Zealand. We're helping them update their system. So a lot of our clients at the moment, they haven't had their systems updated in a really long time. So they're using really old technologies. So that's what we aim to bring. We aim to bring them new technologies, fresh ways of doing things, whether it's updating a website, giving them a new app, providing them up-to-date technology to help do their everyday jobs just that little bit better and a little bit faster.
Yeah. What exactly do you discuss during your client meetings?
We discuss a lot of things. Some of them go for hours, some of them go for, half an hour. It just depends on what we need to discuss. A lot of them are, what the actual client wants, what their new system, they want out of that new system, what they're currently doing, how we're progressing in terms of these projects. There's a lot of things that come out of these meetings.
Yeah. Here's another question. What did you study during TAFE? Would you recommend it to anyone else looking to enter in the IT industry?
So when I got into TAFE, I studied nursing. It was the first thing I jumped out of high school and I studied. I think TAFE is wonderful. I do have a lot of people, within my personal life that also studied TAFE. It's a lot more hands-on. So please, if you don't get into uni on your first, on your first out of high school experience, that's okay. You can always transfer into a uni later on after, you've had a bit of experience in TAFE. Most unis will take you.
Yeah. How might students get experience in this line of work outside of the school walls?
Well, that kind of depends on what kind of sector you want to get into, because like we mentioned, you can become a full stack developer, or like myself, you can become a business analyst or a designer. I think, when I was kind of in uni or in the in-between, figuring out whether I wanted to continue my nursing journey or go into, this kind of digital space, I started to just draft up projects. So I started to, just get a notebook and pretend that an organization was my client, whether you choose, a cafe or a bigger industry like flight. So I picked Jetstar and I would draft things up about if this company was my client, how I would do things or what I would change for them, things like that. So when you start, I guess, getting your mindset into that project space, it kind of helps put all that together into perspective.
Yeah. Why did you decide to choose Infosys?
I chose Infosys because there's a lot of variety. I didn't want to be stuck doing the same thing every day. So that was one of my things, that I liked flavor. So if I'm, on a current project or I'm working in banking, I can change from banking to government, or I can change from government to mining, or there's always that different pathway. I'm not completely stuck. I can always change clients. I can always experience new things. There's always that difference in flavor. That's why I picked Infosys.
Yeah. What does an average week look like for you at working at Infosys?
playing around with a lot of technology, my daily week, having meetings and, catching up with my clients and making sure our project is running smoothly. And I guess a lot of communication. So I communicate with developers, I communicate with my client, I communicate with my bosses. There's a lot of communication involved to make sure that, everybody is kind of on the same page. But the good thing about Infosys and this industry is there's so much technology to play with. There's never a day we're not using it.
Yeah. What is Infosys' main product?
So we actually don't have one main product. We have a lot of products. So we have a lot of, I guess, digital spaces. So we have a marketing space, we have an AI space, we have, a lot of different spaces in terms of robotics and things like that. So there's never one real big space. We've always got different spaces.
Yeah. Are there any expectations you had about this career path that you have found differed from reality in both a good or a bad way?
I think my expectation when I got out of uni was going to be that everything would just work out. I would get, this awesome job in tech and everything would just be super easy. I would get a full-time job as soon as I finished uni. But the reality of the situation is, you finish uni and you're kind of just floating around for a little bit. You apply for a few things, you might get knocked back, but you'll always get one. So I always started applying for full-time roles that I wasn't actually qualified for. So when I started applying for graduate roles, that's when I started to get more, involved, to get more bites back. So don't feel like if you're not getting the roles or you're not getting the jobs or you keep getting knocked back a little bit or you're not sure where you're supposed to be, just keep trying, keep applying and you'll get something. So that was my reality check.
What are some of the challenges you faced with your clients?
The hard thing is clients might not always know what they want, and sometimes we have to provide solutions. So I think that was probably one of the hardest things that I faced. Sometimes the client, we provide a solution and they might not know that they want it at that exact point. So it's always that hard balance where we have to balance between providing a good solution and giving things to our client that at that moment they might not know that they want that exact solution. So there's always that little bit of tension at the beginning, but turns out okay in the end.
Yeah. Is it all programming based, and do you build physical things in e.g. robotics?
It's not all programming based. There are roles that are less programming based, which is a role like mine as a business analyst, where you do the in-between. We don't build physical things, because a lot of our things are already built. Our things are more digitally built. So, like apps or games or websites, things like that. Our clients do build a lot of things based on the technology we provide. So especially in our mining and minerals project, we provide digital prints for them or digital solutions for them, and they use that technology we provide to build those things.
Yeah. Has there been a time where you were unable to meet the requirements set by the client, and were there any consequences?
I don't think so, because before we actually attain a client, we do a lot of fitting. So in terms of fitting, we mean we go and have several meetings and make sure the technology or the solution that we're providing, the software we're going to be giving, is one that fits the client. So we don't actually just go in there and say, okay, this is what we think is best. They've got to be a two-way match. So we have to say, okay, this is what the client wants. This is what we're giving. Is that a match? Is that a fit? If it's not, then what is the next part of the another part of the solution or a new part of technology that we can give?
Yeah. How does it feel to be a woman working in a male-dominated industry?
This is a tough question. It is, this business is very, very male dominated, and it's a challenge. There are challenges that come with it. but we always strive to get more women in this industry. So if you are a woman considering being in the IT industry or being in the technology space, please, we encourage you to join, because we need that diversity. We need the fresh opinions that come with, with being a woman. There are challenges, but, please don't think that this isn't available for you. We always welcome you. We want that diversity, and we want the opinions and, the ideas that come from you.
Yeah. What is the most interesting software project you've worked on at Infosys?
I think the government industries, we use like Pega softwares and Pega solutions. That is the new way going forward, and a lot of the new technologies we're using, if you're not big into coding, that's okay, because they are low code, no code solutions. So this makes it that little bit more interesting to play with and interesting to work with.
Yeah. Do you need a basic understanding of coding to do your job? If so, what type of coding do you know?
So I know a few languages, that came from my degree, but I think that's okay if you don't have a full understanding. Infosys, when you join the graduate program, they offer you that training. So they give you 3 months worth of what I guess our client requires at the moment, the technology our client requires. So you'll learn that little bit of hands-on technology for what you need at that current moment. So it's okay if you're not, the next, Steve Jobs, who knows how to code left, all of these different languages. I know a few, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python, PHP. So I know a few enough to get by.
Yeah. How do you tackle issues that a client might have? Do you use some sort of technique to break down problems?
When our clients are in strife, there's a lot of communication that is involved. So look, diagrams are always really useful with our clients. So, we are never working alone. Me and my team will get together and we'll say, okay, what's the actual issue? There are solution architects, there are people there to help you come with a solution. So you're never really alone. But when our client is in strife, diagrams, communication, make sure everybody's communicating, and how can we then, provide a solution to that problem for our client, just to bring down the situation a little bit.
Yeah. What roles do technology companies such like Infosys offer?
So we have a lot. So if I go back to that slide, I'll just show you. So we've got, business analysts, which is the role I take. We've got data scientists, which are people who look at, transferring data from one system to another. We've got full stack developers who are, hardcore coders. We've got system engineers who look at, each technology and how they work, and we've got digital experience designers. We've got consulting arms, which are people who go out and try and, attain new clients. We've got all different roles. We've got marketing roles. We've got finance roles. We've got a million roles. So, once you come in as a graduate, there's always support for you to find a role that fits you.
Yeah. What is a Pega solution?
So a Pega solution is, you can become a Pega solution architect or a Pega business analyst. Pega is actually a type of software. So we offer that as a solution to our clients.
Yeah. What skills do you find most useful in your role?
I think it would be communication and diagrams. They're the most useful thing, especially for our clients. We need them to understand things in a really basic way, because not all of our clients will understand high-tech terminology. So if we need them to understand something in basic terms, we use diagrams, we use basic communication. Our language needs to be a little bit different. So how I communicate with my developers, because I know that they understand technology really well, I can use, a high-tech language. But if I'm speaking to a client, my language needs to be a little bit different, a little bit more basic, so they can understand exactly what we're doing, how we're doing it, and the technology that we're using to do that.
Do you think IT companies were able to adapt or benefit relative to other industries due to the pandemic?
I think the IT industry was probably one of the most or one of the better industries to get through this pandemic. I mean, we've worked with, like I said, the Australian government with payment aid. So, the industry keeps running. We have really just adapted to this new way of, working from home and being able to connect with our clients virtually. So, I mean, I think the industry is always adapting, always moving forward. I don't think we're one industry that will ever fully crash or ever fully be hit by a pandemic like this, because our clients always need us. Our clients aren't going to stop running. They always need IT and IT support.
Yeah. What type of diagrams are important to create in your role?
So when we talk about diagrams, we talk about PowerPoint presentations or process flows, how they're currently doing business, how we plan to, make their business better. We use, diagrams and flow charts and things like that, really basic diagrams.
Yep. What skills are the most crucial to succeeding in an IT career?
Communication, friendliness, knowledge, know your stuff, know your technology, know what you're talking about, know your art really well. So if you're going to be a business analyst or you're going to be a data scientist or you're going to be a consultant, know exactly what you're going to be talking about to your client or to whoever you're going to meet with, so that when you go there, you're always prepared. You know your stuff.
Yeah, I think we just have time for one final question. What is the best bit of advice you have for someone looking to move into an IT career?
Study your degree or go into TAFE if you don't get into your degree on the first try, but experience everything, try everything. If you go into a company like Infosys, you'll always get the support to try different things. So whether you try to be a system engineer or you try to be a data scientist, you can always change. Like, you don't feel like you're trapped. Try different things. Don't feel like you're stuck being a full stack developer or a designer forever. You can always change. The industry is massive and there's always so many different type of jobs.
Yeah. Thank you for your presentation.
No worries. Thank you.